Hello folks, hope you're well. Father, help me to be honest in this one and help the truth to out. I do pray. Well, because the problem is people are judging me based upon that video I did about last Sunday. The problem is they don't know me. They've not even bothered to try and get to know me and get to know why I would say that. So yeah, I just felt, well, because I listened to the video earlier. Yeah, I listened to what I said and the way I said it, etc., etc. And certainly what I said about the ministry, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I have no problem with that at all. Swearing, okay, you can take that out. Certainly, you can take that out. I mean, to me, as I say, I leave stuff like that in there because it shows just how enraged I was with what I saw. Because the problem is that what people don't understand is that for me, church has always been enraging. When I've spoke about church being horrendous, yeah, church has always been horrendous, but that's always had that enraging nature about it for me. Always has. It always leaves me thinking, oh, for goodness sake, really? You sure you died for this? Are you kidding me? You're living this? Oh. Well, put it this way, I've said in videos recently, let's start at the beginning, shall we? Well, churches are incredibly inward looking. Really inward looking. And incredibly lazy about getting themselves sorted out for God. And the whole attitude towards I gave my life to God, they're like, nah. I gave my life to God, yeah, I gave it. And then when you ask them, did you take it back? No. Let's look at the evidence. Oh no, don't ever look at the evidence. Don't ever look at the evidence. Yeah, the Bible says you know them by their fruit. The church says, no, you can't ever look at our fruit. You can't ever look at our fruit. Yeah, because we have none, basically. Well, a lot of churches, that's the truth. You can't look at their fruit because they have none. If someone has fruit, they allow you to look at the fruit. Yeah. And to be honest, I'll say to people, you can look at the fruit of me. Yeah. If you want to focus all your attention on one video where I was particularly enraged, and then go for it. But if you want to judge my fruit based on that, fine. Go judge Peter based on Peter denying the Lord 3 times. Yeah. Back to church. Okay. Why is church enraging to me? Okay. Well, as I've said before, with regards to musicians and the worship team. In the world, worldly musicians practice because they are playing for money. And they work at it. They work at their skill because they know that if they don't get gigs, they don't get to play, and therefore they lose that. They might have a chance of actually making it big. So they work it because they wouldn't actually bother unless if they thought they were good, right? In church, as I've said all the time, the idea in church is, like David's private worship, but the church leaders are ones who are supposed to lead people. If you can, plonk on the piano or strum, and that's all you can do. That's okay. That's okay. You're trying. If it never gets better, that's okay. You're doing your best. What? No, they're not. They're not. How can they be doing their best? Because, as I say, the musicians that go and play in pubs and clubs, if they were doing what they were doing initially when they first picked up the stuff, And if that was their best on day 5 of them learning to play, when they went into pubs and stuff, they would never get invited back. But in church, that's okay, that level. Even though you're playing, you're supposed to be counting this as your ministry. You're playing before the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and you think that's enough? I've said about songs. You have songs. There was that song when I did on the Friday, talking about those 2 songs. That one talking about you are the only one to worship. You are the only one who's God. If that song is written about Jesus, that's demonic. They're singing demonic songs in church. Well, because it's about Jesus. Yeah, like bloody seals. People have been programmed to think that basically anything offered is good enough. Anything offered is good enough. Any song that sounds as if it could be nice about the Lord is good enough. It doesn't matter what the words are, even if the words are utterly ridiculous. It doesn't matter. Yeah? Well, like that song, Open the Eyes of My Heart, Lord, I want to see you, 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 I want to see you. It's incredibly inward. This whole idea that we're supposed to be, outreaching and, thinking about the people out there. Why are none of the songs about the people out there? Why are all the songs about me, 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 me? I mean, that is outrageous. It is absolutely outrageous. If, for example, if what God has been shared with me is true, then where the church is, where people are stuck, is outrageous. And the fact we've got ministers who are basically saying we're going to keep them stuck in what they are is bloody outrageous. How people are not being taught how to walk is outrageous. How people are not being taught how to be led is outrageous. How even with the church plan, like when I spoke to the pastor yesterday, he wasn't talking about relationship with God. He wasn't talking about teaching people to be led by the Holy Spirit. He was talking about all the 4 things that the church has been talking about for the past 20 years, and that is outrageous. So normally going to church, I feel outrage in any church about what I see. Normally what I see is outrageous. But it's like having a cold shower. You get used to it. Over 28 years, you get used to it. But that's why I say most of the time of my Christian life, I've not been anywhere near a church, because this is what church is to me. It is outrageous what I see. It's not. Look at the Bible, look at that, and when they say that we're doing the work of God and we're doing our best, no, you're not. Not in any way, shape, or form. No. That's lies. It's outrageous to claim that. It just is not true. And then add the point that the dream I got, years ago, of God showing me His people being led away to their death. And when I see that this is what they think is okay, this is what they think is a good enough level, and you've got a whole load of harvest out there that needs to come into this, and we're going to lose most of those if they come into this as it is right now. Yeah. That's why I can get outraged by what I see when I go to church. That's why sometimes it can be a bit more and a bit much. Like last Sunday. So forgive me for that, but get to know me before you try and judge me on that. And as to the point that the person who was speaking could get offended by what I said, Look, the reality is, if you put yourself up there and you bring something, then it's like me when I do these videos. If I go out there and I say something, I'm putting myself on the line where people can criticise what I say. People have criticised what I've said. I've got no problem with that. I put a disclaimer on mine saying, if you come on and put some stupid stuff, like you're trying to advertise some stupid site, then your channel and your ID will be removed. But if you come and say something about what I've said, I'm not going to remove you for that. I may disagree, and if I disagree, I will get into a conversation with you. Well, I'm going to run away from the fact that somebody has challenged what I've said. I need to protect him from that, do I? Does he? He's a grown man. Isn't he capable of dealing with stuff like that? If he isn't, don't put him up there. Again, I find that incredibly offensive. I mean, they're basically saying that I'm judging that man. I'm not, I'm only judging what he said. But, okay, they're saying, well, the pastor basically said that I'm judging him by saying that he shouldn't be put up there again. No, I was simply saying I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And, based even by his story, the fact that he says he was in the church and went away from the church, and in the church and went away from the church, in the church, went away from the church. Yeah. By that point, you have to say, he's not. The way that church deals with stuff. If you've been in a church for a number of years, I mean, a lot of years, then they may count you as an elder because you prove you can be trusted. 2 years, generally speaking, I can't see how that's long enough. Not to say that person should be up there speaking. Yeah. It doesn't. But again, that's what that is. But as I said, with regards to criticism, with regards to saying something about what someone has produced. So we live in a society nowadays where footballers, because there's social media, they get a lot of abuse on social media. Now, obviously, some of that abuse is out of order. Obviously, some of it is out of order. But really, ever since people have been playing football, players have got abuse for various reasons. Certainly, if they have a bad game, they get abuse. If they have a couple of bad games, certainly the away fans will take the mickey out of them. Even if they're playing pretty well, the away fans will try and take the mickey out of them to annoy them, especially if they're a forward or a defender or a goalkeeper, because they want them to muck up at just the right time. So, they will try and do that. That's part of the game. Anyone who can't handle that, get out of it. It's not a game for you. Darts is a different game. In darts, you don't have people coming and abusing you. Generally speaking, that isn't the case. In football, it is. In cricket, I don't think it is. So in most American sports, it probably isn't. I think in basketball, you do get a certain degree of that. Probably. I imagine you get a certain degree of that also with rounders. Or, their version of rounders. Baseball. Yeah. And they would say to the players, if you can't handle the pressure of being out there and the criticism you're going to get, don't go out there. Simple as that. You can't have a go at people and say you shouldn't be, challenging this person. I understand where the pastor thinks you shouldn't be putting this online. Well, again, we should hide it. I don't get the point about why we should hide it. As I say, for me, I know that, of course, doing videos where I'm very, very sweary, that's not ideal. That's not a good situation. But what it does, it shows people where I'm at. And I have no problem at all showing people where I'm at. Because then as God leads, as God works in me, when God decides to deal with that, the swearing situation, then people will see videos being done differently. And that glorifies God. Great. As I say, if I don't show any of that, if I get rid of any videos where I swear, or I even say the word bloody, which to me is okay. Yeah. Again, what I don't get, what I do not understand, how someone can be so offended by swearing, but not offended by the level of what the church is producing, and the fact the church is saying that that's good. The church is saying that's good. Well, for example, Neil Silverberg, lovely man. But as I say, when he came and he gave his stuff, again, tried to be a comedian, which is, I don't like that. The older people in the church seem to like it. I don't. Because, as I've said, people are able to retain only a certain amount of information. If what they retain is that joke, they're not retaining the thing that they should be retaining. God does not have him up there to tell jokes. And so if people remember the joke, that isn't good. Some people will just remember the joke because a lot of emphasis is put on the jokes. But when he was actually ministering and preaching, he was challenging. Now, to me, that was so impressive. It shouldn't be. That should be the basics. That should be, every church should be doing things at that level and above. But the fact that what they're doing, compare what he did, and then have a look at what the bloke did last Sunday. Look at the differences. They are immense. But what Neil Silverberg did was the basics. I mean, even that, compare that to Paul's teaching, Paul's preaching. Compare that to Peter's. Compare that to John's. Compare that to Yeshua. We actually have the word available to us that those people in the early church did not have. We should be producing so much better than that. What we're producing is so much more inferior, and I say, Neil Silverberg, lovely man. Seems like a lovely man. Good nature. He's experienced stuff in his life. Good man. Loves God. Fantastic. But what he produced was inferior when you look at really where we should be now. If we had Smith Wigglesworth in the 20s, 30s, 40s, if we had people like that then, where should we be now? And if people are not outraged by that, oh my God, how? Oh. This is why I say being in church is outrageous. I understand people are where they are. I do understand that. I understand people where they are. But the problem is that doesn't mean that that's okay. It doesn't mean that that level is okay. When you're saying that, no, that isn't okay. But I've said so many times, that's part of the problem with having pastors as leaders, is that pastors as leaders, they're incredibly protective of the people. They do not understand, like Neil Silverberg was talking about, needing to be challenged, needing to be, sometimes a kick up the arse. Sometimes we need that, and no, in church, you can't do anything like that. Oh no, that's physical violence. That is, we'll have to call the police on you if you do anything like that. That's pastor. That's pastor's nature. Got to protect the people. Got to protect the people. Got to protect the people. If I'd been if the leader of that church was someone who was actually called to be a leader, a spiritual leader, that person would probably have spoken to me about that video. That person would have said, obviously, you've got an issue with swearing. Yeah, you've got an issue where you get enraged to that point and you swear. That's not necessarily good putting that out there. Why do you think that's okay putting that out there? That would be fine. I'd understand that. Because that would be in line. Yeah, the person may have asked why I criticised certain points of the message. But they would have been willing to listen. Problem is, a pastor would never be willing to listen. Yeah, so I got similar vibes from the pastor yesterday as I got from the SSPCA. He was told it's offensive because of blah 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 blah, and he looked at, he was angry. He shouldn't be saying anything when he's angry. He shouldn't be releasing anything when he's angry. Got to be bad then. Got to be bad. Got to be bad. Got to be bad. Got to be bad. And he swore, got to be bad. Just like the SSPCA. Yeah, they were told that I threw a dog down the stairs, and in the video I sounded angry because I was trying to basically, help the dogs to know that, come on, when I call you out the car, you've got to come. If I'm standing there for 2 or 3 minutes calling you out the car and you're not coming, that isn't good. So like the alpha, I was trying to growl, and I'm not a very good growler because I'm human, I'm not a dog. The best way I can growl is to speak loudly and a bit more deeper, to come across as similar. So pretending I'm angry does the job. Pretending I'm annoyed with them. But the SSPCA looked at that. We're taking all your dogs. We don't need to look at the evidence. It doesn't matter what the evidence actually doesn't show. The evidence doesn't show you throwing a dog down the stairs, but that doesn't matter. Again, I have to understand, okay, God wanted them to do that. So, yeah, I've got to, with regards to the SSPCA, understand God wants them to do that. So, okay. Maybe God wanted the pastor to be as he was yesterday. That's possible. Yeah. But as I say, again, the bloke, he's a lovely man. He is. He's had experiences in his life. That's what I say. Would he be destroyed by what I said? Well, if he's going to be destroyed by what I said, then I must say, come on. What did you learn from the experiences you went through? You've gone through far bloody worse than that in your life. That would have given you strength. So therefore, to go through what he's gone through in his, what he said in his testimony. But again, look, on that day, when I did that video, I was very tired, my brain wasn't working. There were certain words I couldn't say. I couldn't say testimony. I couldn't say Adam. So in that video, I wasn't perfect. Even in what I was saying that wasn't swearing. So I wasn't having to go at him for not being perfect in everything he was saying. It wasn't about that. And I wasn't having to go at him. That's the thing. I wasn't even having to go at the person who put him up there. It's the fact that in not just this church, but in so many churches, they put people forward when the pastor isn't able to bring. And again, whether a pastor should be bringing, that's a different thing. Can definitely speak about that at any point in time. I have so many times already. But what they tend to put people up, but not based on whether God is saying that person is ready, or that person is suitable, that person is the person that God wants to bring something on that day. Although, go back and listen to the video that I made on the, I think, 24th of September 2021. The second time I was up at LL. The person who brought the message out, I found it weird. I didn't understand it in any way, shape or form, where this person was going. And yet it impacted the people there. So, yeah. Do I understand that sometimes, someone can bring something that doesn't impact me at all, that isn't meant for me, it's meant for other people in the room, and what they need to hear, and I've done talks about that, saying about the fact, okay, I personally have a certain amount of information that I could share to people that could help them, but how they need to hear it is completely different. I don't know that. I don't know what they need to hear or how they need to hear it. That's why I need to be led. That's what I've been saying about that. But on that occasion, on the 24th, I think, of September 2021, yeah. What was produced didn't sit with me. I didn't like it in any way, shape or form. I thought this woman had failed miserably, who was speaking. And yet, no. Some of the people there liked him. She spoke in a way that got people in tears, and it really touched them. Yeah. Me watching it, if I'd been the one reviewing that, I would have said that was absolutely awful. Well, no, I would have said that was bad. It wasn't as bad as last Sunday, but I would have said that was bad on the 24th of September 2021. But other people, it worked for them. And so, yeah. And you hear in the video when I talk about that, I said, well, okay. I stand corrected. Just because something doesn't touch me, it doesn't mean it won't touch others. And, well, actually, the last... when was that? It may... Was it? The last time the pastor spoke before he went away, there was a lady a few rows forward who it really impacted her. And she was letting out a lot of emotion, while other people are being prayed for. Did what he say impacted me that much? No, but I did know that actually what he said was more challenging than what we normally. I can't say what he normally does because I think that was only the second of the meetings that I'd seen him minister. Second or third. But it was different. Well, I've made comments about that one as well. Which, of course, did he go back and listen to that? Probably not. No. There you go. Hopefully, this helps in some way for people to understand that, it's different. I mean, to me, church is... I've done videos talking before about church being horrendous. The problem is church being horrendous, that's going to have an impact. As I say, the only reason why I don't rage every time after I go to church is because you get used to it. You get used to a certain level, and that's normal. But for me, that's been the normal for me, going into church. Very, very rarely, and I've done videos talking about it, very, very rarely have I gone into a church and thought, actually, that was really good. Occasionally that happens, but even when that happens, I look back at what was said and thought, excuse me, as I say, with Neil Silverberg, when I walked out of his, I thought, well, that was good. But then when I looked at it, I said, well, it wasn't really. It was what where the bar, even lower than where the bar should be, really. It was. Because it was challenging a bit. Was it that challenging? Not really. It was challenging a bit. And it's like, well, okay. That is good compared to the norm. It shouldn't be good because the norm should be way above that. But there you go. We are where we are, aren't we? But this is the point. When people have an understanding of where we are is far better than where we are, then But go back over the years it doesn't matter what church I've gone into. Every church I've gone into has always thought that their church is good and their church is on the right track. And with this minister, they're going to be flying high with God very, very soon. 20 years later, no. None of that has happened. There is a certain degree of delusion. But I understand it. It's hope. It's where people are hoping that this time things will work, and people are hoping that, we're doing better than what it seems that we're doing. People try to see things on the people try to see things on the optimistic level. Well, that's what, when I said on the Tuesday night, people didn't believe me. That I'm usually pessimistic. I'm not usually optimistic in any way, shape or form. So when I say that, things are going incredibly well for me, I'm not lying. Because if you know me, you know that I'm not optimistic. I'm usually pessimistic, more realistic, but slightly pessimistic. But the problem is I'm surrounded by people that are either optimistic or highly optimistic. And so the way they see things is very, very different to the way I see things. And that's the point. That's where getting to know each other is helpful. So, yeah. People have every right to judge me. But as I say, I wasn't judging this man, Alex. He's a good man. I like him. He has a good heart, and that to me matters. So, and he has a good testimony. He certainly is a survivor. And that's why I say I don't think he would be that offended. And I certainly don't think he would be destroyed. I've already challenged him on something he said, so I don't think he'd be that surprised either. Really. So there you go. Well, I mean, even that point, would he be that surprised? No. But, when we see each other, we hug. Yeah. I can see past the fact that he sometimes says things that are just insane to me. And he can see past the fact that, I would, criticise him sometimes. Even with things that he might not understand. That's the point of fellowship. That's the point of understanding that we're not the same, we're different, we're going to see things differently. But, that song Relate. Maybe we can see that we relate, that we're all the same in some way. Maybe we can focus on that, rather than focus on the differences. But if I'm supposed to go to church, then, I'm going to see things in a different way. Because my life experience and who I am means that I see things from a different way. But who's right, who's wrong? Look at the evidence. Look at the evidence of where the church is. People have been seeing things according to the way the church sees things right now. Has it worked? No. To me, no. But there you go. You take care, God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Have a wonderful week. And all the rest,